everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for yet another episode of the Creatives Podcast. I am your sole co-host today. Tevin cannot be with us, so it's going to be you and me, rocking and rolling. Today we have a very special guest, a cinematographer, filmmaker extraordinaire, founder of Space Helmet Pictures. Thank you so much for being with us here today, Monty Montgomery.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So you said just before we started rolling that pretty much all you do is centered around film and creativity. Take us through what your passion is and what it means to you.
What my passion is and what it means to me. At this point in my life, I like making films and thinking about making films. I just, like a while ago, I fell in love with the medium as just a means to express and share ideas, and so that's kind of just what I spend most of my day doing, either working during the day towards making something, either a passion project or just a short thing for a bank that's going to pay me a bunch of money, and then in the evening I watch some films with my girlfriend and try to get some sleep and then do it all the next day. And sometimes I have to do other things.
I hate when those other things get in the way,
yeah,
right?
you know, there's just some things you have to do.
That's true. That's life. But no, that's wonderful. Eat, sleep, and breathe film. How did you get your start? What ignited that passion?
I mean, my love of cameras, I think, started back in high school. You know, I got a camera, one of like the original Canon Rebel, the digital Rebel. And I just enjoyed taking photographs, and then I got into playing music, and that took over my life for a while. And then I guess during, like in 2019 and 2020, I was making a lot of music with my roommate, and we wrote a bunch of albums, and then I started just laying around imagining music videos, and I started watching more and more films, and it was like, wow, this is what I want to do now. And I just I'm very extreme, so I just hard pivoted. I was just like, I'm not making music anymore. I'm just gonna
just dove in.
Yeah, I just sold a lot of my synthesizers. I had like a room full of synthesizers and other keyboards. I sold most of them. I was living in Philly at the time. I told my roommate, I was like, I don't want to re-sign the lease. I'm going to sell most of my things, including my car. I'm going to buy a van, and I'm going to drive around the country, and you can come if you want. And he did, and now we both live in Santa Fe.
Wow, that is, and what an epic saga too. Just as soon as you knew, and you went for it.
Yeah.
That's huge. Wow, was that an easy decision to make?
Yeah, I mean, I think it helped that he was down to come along.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, this was the beginning of 2021. You know, the world had just opened up like post-COVID, and you know, I'd been back at work a few months, and I spent a lot of 2020 not being able to go to work. I was working in a research lab, so I couldn't go into work. It wasn't work I could take home, and they kept paying me. So it was kind of luck of the draw, and then I went back to work, and I'd always sworn that if I didn't have to go to work, I would be an artist all of the time. And then that proved me right. So I went back to work and was like, this sucks.
Again?
I don't want to, I don't want to do, this is wasted my time. Like, I know that I could be making art right now. I don't want to be doing this. And so, like I said, I'm a very extreme person, so I just sold all of my things, and the plan was to drive around the country. We started in Philly, and very, very, very long story short, we ended up staying in Santa Fe. We didn't make it all the way around the country.
No. Well, you're welcome to make a long story medium or long if you would like.
I guess the medium version would be, we made it to Santa Fe. I had a bunch of health problems, and then had to go back and live with my family for a few months in Pennsylvania. He stayed here because he had some family here, and then when I rejoined him, we just decided to, instead of traveling until we ran out of money, to just move here. So now we both live in Santa Fe.
And it became home. And this is a fantastic hub, for all things arts and creativity, especially film.
It was just so easy to be here. Like, yeah, it's very collaborative in New Mexico, which I like. Philly, I was playing in the Philly music scene for a little over a decade, and it's great. This is nothing bad about the Philly music scene. Is amazing, and I miss it. My favorite venue ever closed for years, and they just reopened, and I'm just like, I want to go back. But it's very, very competitive, which is good, because it like forces everyone to be better. And here it's very collaborative, which is also good, because everyone's down to just help each other out, work on each other's things. Not very many people have the attitude of, if you get that, then I can't have that. No, it's like, well, if you get that, then I can have that. You know, and I think that there's just something about the New Mexico attitude that works in that way that I enjoy.
That's such a great point. I think that feels like there's like no room for scarcity mindset, you know, in the community. Like everyone seems to be supporting each other and have each other's backs, which is kind of a miracle, especially in the creative industry, right?
Yeah, it is. It's very much like an abundance mindset, and you can also just make up your own things. You know, it's like being in a band. Like there's an infinite number of songs that you can write. So just because you wrote that song doesn't mean I can't write this song. Or, you know, if you want to make that film doesn't mean I can't make this film.
Right.
And, you know, I think that helps. And I think it's important, especially, you know, in the desert. You know, we kind of need each other to survive. Back in Pennsylvania, there's a lot of water, and, you know, nobody's, you know, dying for lack of resources, but, you know, you could die out here.
Like actually.
Like actually, you could just die out here, and people do, you know. So. Yeah.
So no, that's so true. And I'm curious that kind of in a similar note that you mentioned, you know, you're pivoting from music and performance into working behind the scenes. So what has that transition been like, and what do you like about being behind the scenes?
I think that filmmaking works in a way for me because like music is very like ethereal. You know, I don't understand it. I've written songs, I've, you know, made albums with other people. I've never made my own album. Music is magical. It like heals, it's like the universal language, it heals everyone. Filmmaking is also magical, but it's also exceptionally technical.
Right.
And I've always learned, like, the things I loved most about music was I loved learning how to use a synthesizer. I didn't like practicing.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like not a very good technical player. If I'm in the right mood, I can make things that are cool. Because you're just like tapping into something that's not yours anyway. But filmmaking, like I love learning how to use cameras. I love learning about lenses and, you know, lights and the editing software. And so it really scratches both itches. And then I also I do a lot of work with musicians. Like I basically learned how to make shorts by making music videos. I love shooting live shows and performance videos. I love working with musicians. And it's just this part of it that feels easier to me at this moment in life. Like it just what I enjoy doing, you know, and there's like I don't miss playing shows late at night to small crowds.
Valid.
You know, like I've done that. I'm 40. I spent my 20s trying to be a rock star, and I've played small clubs to one person until 2 in the morning, and it's great. But I go to bed at 10 now.
Oh, that does sound nice.
So I don't want to, you know, go play some dive bar until 2 in the morning anymore. I did it, and it was the best time I ever had. And now I'm making films, and that's the best time I've ever had as well. You know, just a different stage of life.
And yeah, from the way that you talk about it, it seems like you really enjoy the process of like solving a problem. You know, that like kind of having both sides of your brain activate. Right.
Yeah, there's like especially like being on, there's so many parts to it. And I found like my favorites, I really love like pre-production and production. I enjoy post, like editing where it all comes together, but like there are people who love that. And like I enjoy the other parts like much more. I like imagining it, like thinking about it and planning it. And then when you're on set, it's just problem solving. Like it's like the ultimate presence practice. Like
Ooh,
you just
I like that.
are there. And like I met the producer of this, DanGil, like a few weeks ago on a film set, and it was just such an intense experience, like in a good way. Like I was like staying in a house of somebody I had met for like literally like 30 seconds, like several months ago, and then had a few phone calls with. I stayed with him in like his parents' house, and we would, try to get to set around 8:30. We'd shoot till around 10 p.m. and then we'd like go out and get dinner and a drink and talk about the shots for the next day. And it was like the most exhausting and exhilarating thing ever, because you're like balancing all these things. And there was like a moment each day, like just like a moment, not even a second, just like a moment each day where like somebody would be like, it's 1:30, and I'd be like, fuck, there's
like,
there's no way. And then you just let that pass.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's, 8 o'clock, and you're like, wow, I can believe that we did it, but I also was like, how did that happen? That's a miracle of just creation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the community too, like you were talking about earlier. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's a team. It's a team of people who are all in it together and being like very direct with each other, which sometimes can like rub people the wrong way when you're just like, hey, go do that. And it's like, I'm not like trying to be in charge of you. I just like notice that and it need to be done, and you're in charge of that.
Right.
And like somebody will say that to me, and it's like, yes, yeah, like let's just go do this. And we're all just like riding this ride, and if anybody stops, it was like one of those things we were talking when we finished the set, like if one person had not been there, it wouldn't have gotten done.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that begs the question, so beforehand, we were talking and DanGil was lauding your praises about how, you really care about making sure that people are heard, and that it seems kind of like bridging this gap between talent and production. So I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit more about like why that's important and what that means to you.
I think it's just like, just like working with the crew, working with the talent, working with all of the above.
Yeah.
I think you just have to like learn how to notice what everyone on set needs. That person needs to be told what to do. That person needs to be told what to do politely. That person needs a cigarette break,
Right. Yeah.
And kind of like when you're in the moment, you just have to understand that if like that person can go take their cigarette break, it'll be better, and that person, yeah. And so I think it's just like a communal understanding that you're all trying to accomplish the same thing. And especially on like an indie film set where if anybody's getting paid, it's might as well be nothing, like we're all just like, we're all here for it because we love it.
Right.
And I'm sure there'll be like some people on set, maybe me, maybe somebody else who like, makes it one day, and we're all going to be like, damn, I wish we were back in Farmington not getting paid,
Right.
because that was it. That was the best. And now I'm stressed because I have $7 million, and I'm so stressed.
Like,
I always wanted $7 million, and now I don't know what to do with it because like,
Yeah.
that bank is going to kill me.
Mo money, mo problems.
Yeah, it's like I wish I were back in Alfredo's parents' spare bedroom.
Right. Yeah. No, and that's huge, though, building a sense of like safety and cohesion on set, and just like remembering where you started, and it seems like especially in those smaller projects, it's easier to do that, to honor that, and to return to your why, right? Yeah. So, well, that begs the question, what is your why? What keeps you moving through all of the chaos and the late nights?
I just have this weird compulsion to do it. You know, I
love that.
don't know why. I just think about it all of the time, and when I don't get to do it, I'm just like a little less, I don't want to say like happy, because like I've done a pretty good job of like curating my life where like I know how to maintain my own like sense of happiness or success or whatever, but I don't know, I just have this weird obsession with it. It's just what I think about all of the time. You know, it's what I talk about, and it's this weird world because it's also like I run my own business, and so there's the filmmaking side of it, and then there's the videography side of it. And I've like tried to be very careful of making sure that, you know, working for banks and, you know, real estate offices and whoever, you know, like a bank can meet my day rate and this short film can't, and that's great. You know, I don't, you know, like that's why I've like flipped a switch in my brain to be like, yeah, I'm just gonna take that bank for all it's worth. You know, they're gonna pay me $4,000 to do this stupid thing that I think anybody could do, which is not necessarily true. I built up the skills to do it, but also like it's like it's easy in a sense, you know, in a way that like music never became easy for me. You know, like there's some people who, like I have some friends that I like came up in the Philly scene with, and like a couple of them are now in Lauryn Hill's band. A couple of them just played the Grammys. Like they can just, music pours out of them. And I never got to that place with music, and now like filmmaking like just like pours out of me, and it's just the only thing that like makes sense to do right now. And I'm sure in, you know, 5 or 10 or 20, 30 years at some point, then might just be like, you know what? I'm done.
I got my film.
You know, I did it. I did it, you know, and maybe not, you know, some people do things till they die. I've like gone through periods of my life, and I imagine there'll be another phase of my life at some point, you know?
I love that. Yeah, that sense of openness. That's huge. I am curious for you to talk more about, you know, one product of that outpouring, which is your production company, Space Helmet Pictures. Can you share a little bit more about that?
How so? You know,
yeah, how it came to be, what kind of projects that you are working on. Also, feel free to share any current projects or anything that you're able to share.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of came, I mean, the name Space Helmet Pictures was, it's like an evolution of like a moniker that, you know, it was Space Helmet Photography, and before that, when I was making music, it was Space Helmet Dave, which has its own origin story, and then, you know, eventually it just switched to photography, and then I was like, well, I'm not I actually don't do photography now. I don't even have a photo camera.
Wow.
Except I have one of those little camp snaps, you know, those.
Oh yeah, we all need one of those.
Those are great. Those are great. But I at some point I realized, like, I don't enjoy photography anymore. I don't want anybody to hire me for photography, so I sold it, and now I have 2 cinema cameras. But yeah, it just sort of happened. You know, I think like there were, like I got a few gigs, and I'm not even sure what they were, but you know, they paid me to do it. And I was like, well, I can't make that in a week working, you know, for $20 an hour.
Yeah.
You know, like, and so I can either just be like, no, I'm a filmmaker, I don't want to work for banks. Or I can be like, this is dumb, I can make a month's rent in, you know, a few hours of work if I just go like hit up a bank and be like, hey, can I do this for you?
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And then I can, you know, and then I can go like to Farmington for a week and make some short film, or I can go, like I have another, so that was a film called Strange Language, which was great, and Alfredo Castro, who has like worked on Dark Winds and some other things, he's the writer, director, producer of that, so that's now in post. I'm working on a documentary that's not mine, I'm on the camera team for it, called The Big New Mex Review, which is a feature documentary about the intersection of it's like indigenous Spanish and Anglo music scene that exists in New Mexico. So like what it means for those three cultures to like come head to head and how music brings everyone together.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, I have my own documentary that I'm going to be shooting this summer called One Big Song, which is about the life and legacy of labor activist and songwriter Joe Hill from the early 20th century. I have a short film script called Night Owl that's been sitting on my desk that I hope to make this fall if I can make some money. You know, I'm shooting something for some lawyers Wednesday morning.
Sweet. Yeah, got a little bit of everything everywhere, like you said.
There's a real estate shoot next week, you know, a bunch of things, and probably more than that. I go through phases of writing things down. And I'm in one of those phases where I'm not good at writing things down.
I understand.
So
Totally.
There's probably more.
Yeah.
I know there's like some things that have been sitting around in post. You know, you deliver a project and they take 2 months to get you back some notes, and you're just like, okay, I'll get around to it.
Yep.
I would have done that in an hour if you had gotten it right back to me, but now it's been like 2 months, and it's like, oh man. Especially when you've already been paid. There's like things that's like, man, I was paid for this 3 months ago, and now I have to put 3 hours into it.
Too much.
It feels like you're doing work for free. You know,
yeah,
at that point.
exactly. You're like, I am not volunteering.
Yeah, but you know, it's cool. It's all, everything I'm doing is either really easy or really fun. You know, so like I'm doing some stuff for some lawyers on Wednesday morning, and it'll be so easy, and they'll pay me more than any short film could pay me.
Yep. Makes
and
sense.
then I can, you know, make my own short film for no money.
That's wonderful, and I love your outlook. You know, taking opportunities as they arise. You know, openly and with curiosity. That's so important, especially in the creative industry. And I am curious, where can people find your work? Where's the best place?
Instagram and my website, spacehelmetpictures.com, or on Instagram at spacehelmetpictures. That's pretty much if I'm there. My Venmo is spacehelmetpictures. Well, you said look at the camera for Venmo. So
yes. Hey, this man.
If I'm online, it's going to be that. I'm too old for TikTok, so I'm not doing that. I tried Twitter a couple times. You know. But I don't
It's a void in there.
Yeah,
Stay safe.
I didn't, you know, it's like one of those things, like if you didn't do it, like I tried to, like I was off Facebook for years, and I like got back on Facebook like a couple months ago to be like, I really need to like do business on here. Like there's like old people with money on Facebook, you know?
True.
And like, I just don't remember how to engage with it, you know? When I was like 25, you'd be like, hey, this is what I ate, you know?
Right, yeah.
Now it's like, what's my first post in 10 years going to be? Like, that's scary for some weird reason.
Yeah, no, I mean, the expectations are so high.
Yeah.
What has this man been doing?
Yeah.
No, yes, okay, so take notes. Hopefully everyone was taking notes. Something as we're starting to come to a close, which is wild, time always flies by so fast.
Yeah.
We always like to ask if you had to give some piece of advice, whether it was bullet points, a line, a paragraph, what advice would you give to people who are just getting their start in the creative industry?
Wow. That's a lot.
No pressure. It's like your Facebook post.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, like, I love quotes, and like there's a quote that like changed my life years ago when I was really struggling to make music, and it was, worry is a misuse of the imagination.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, worry is a misuse of the imagination, and it's just that like you can do it, you know, and you know you're probably just in your own way, which is a lot of pressure, but it's all on you. You know, it's like you can hold yourself back or you can propel yourself forward. Like you're in charge of your own success.
You're in control.
Yeah.
Well, that's huge.
Don't worry about it, because whatever's supposed to happen will happen if you let it.
I love that. If you let it.
Yeah, just get out of the way. The universe will do the rest.
Fantastic. Again, I hope everyone is taking notes. Well, okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing, for the conversation.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
It's wonderful having you.
Thank you. This was a lot of fun.
Good, absolutely. Wonderful. And thank you all, lovely audience, for tuning in to yet another fantastic episode. Once again, I am one of most of the time two co-hosts, Simone Campbell. Thank you again to our sponsors for being wonderful, to Studio 519 for the fantastic space. Remember to check us out on Channel 96, Channel 27, Army Free TV on your Apple and Roku devices, and YouTube, of course, always. Like and subscribe. Thank you so much to all of those who are in our corner supporting us. And have a wonderful day, night, morning, evening, etc. Thank you.